Hello there, everyone, and welcome to episode 93 of the Play to Win podcast, the show where we break down the week's biggest gaming news through in-depth discussion. My name is Tyler. I'm your host this week, and I'm joined, of course, by my super cool co-host over here, Tyler. How are you doing? You got your cat with you today. Are they the third co-host this week?
This is a different one. This isn't Lilu. This isn't the only boy. This is this is Nibbler, the oldest. She's a little brat, but yeah, I'm doing all right. She's a mom's girl, actually. She's like inseparable from my girlfriend half the time, but every once in a while she just likes to come up to me and we bond. So
she's over here like swinging her tail with like force.
She's sassy, man.
It looks either she's loving the pets or she's like, hey, like, stop.
No, I don't give her pets without. I'm a big don't give cats pets if they don't want them kind of person. Which is ironic because she, like I said, she's a mama's girl, but she's also my girlfriend will like squeeze them and hug them even if they don't want it, and she hates that shit. But for whatever reason, she's also loves my girlfriend. So it is what it is for me. Cats are gonna pick their favorites, just whatever, so I just let it be. But it's she's happy, she's fine, but also she's weird. Yeah, she just for whatever reason likes to swing her tail and sassy.
I love it. Remember, subscribe to the show over on YouTube or on podcast services as well. Hit the notification bell if you're over on YouTube. That way you know as soon as episodes go live. This week on the Play to Win podcast, we got a couple things to talk about. We are talking about some bad news for E3, some potential bad news for E3, disappointing Titanfall news. When is it never disappointing? When is it not disappointing Titanfall news?
There was the announcement of Apex, and it's all been downhill from there.
Exactly. And we have some updates on the situation going on over at 343 Industries with Halo. We're going to start things off, though, by talking about E3 2023, because apparently, according to an IGN report, Nintendo, Sony, and Microsoft will not be a part of the show. They're not going to be, participating. They're not going to be on the show floor. None of that. Tyler, I don't know if you and I have talked E3 since you've been on the show.
I think we've talked about it briefly, kind of like as a whole, but I don't think we've like really dived into like, okay, well, what might actually happen as we're kind of seeing bear out right now.
Right. Yeah. So it's going to be an interesting conversation for sure. As we all know, or as some of us might not know, E3 has been in kind of a state of flux for the past couple of years. I mean, even going into 2019's E3, there have been conversations for a bit of, okay, how relevant is E3 in an era of, people doing more digital showcases. Nintendo had already left and bounced out. They've been doing Nintendo Directs. Sony had left, I believe, in 2018, and they started doing their own thing and everything. And there were more conversations starting up of how relevant is E3? Do we need E3? The pandemic happened. And then it was like, all right, no E3, no showcases, 2020 period. Everyone thinks going digital. 2021 happened, and then they tried to do a digital show, and that was just like a flop on its own. And then 2022 came, and there was nothing at all. And again, we had more people doing digital showcases and everything, which just furthered the conversation, the question of, do we need E3 when people can just not have to pay the fee to be a part of E3 and do their show whenever they want and have all eyes on them and just like control the message on their own? So we get to 2023 and E3 under new management, Reed Pop, who puts together PAX, New York Comic Con, amongst other conventions and everything. They're the ones that are going to be putting together E3 this year. It's an in-person show. Finally, again, after, many years of it not being in person. And we're getting support that Sony not going to be there, expected. Nintendo not going to be there, a bit surprising because apparently they've still been on the show floor even if they haven't had a press conference at E3 in a while. And Microsoft reportedly is not going to be participating in E3 either, although again they've had their stuff like at a different convention center for a while now, but they've still had like their own E3 showcase like that was under the E3 branding. Apparently that might not be happening this year either. Tyler, what do you just think of that?
So I think we have moved beyond the need for E3, the company. I very strongly, I love the time of year of early June solely because of E3. Like it is, how about nostalgia? Like I have so much nostalgia for like being 8, 9 years, 10 years old, sitting there and watching nothing but fucking X Play for 3 days straight. Like it was the best. Like I love E3 spiritually. What it is, it is just this hype. Get it? You know, I like to get excited about things as we've seen on this show. Like you just inject it into my veins. That's what I love. But yeah, like the weird thing is that like we all have this connection, I think, to E3 as an event week, but the reality is it's this dumb, weird company that really, has gone beyond. Like we don't need that company anymore. And the only frustrating thing though is like I wish all the publishers could just be like, hey, yeah, fuck that. We're not gonna pay them. Like, what are you paying them for? You know what I mean? Like we can rent out this event space. We can move it a week later if or before, whatever, if needed. But I like wish they would all come together and at least agree to like show up and do the thing. Like that's I still want that. I still think there's so a love for that, both in this industry and as fans. Like I think a lot of some report journalists like I think have been around so long they're burnt out.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I don't know. I love it. I think we need it, but I do think like the E3, the company, like just dissolve already, so we can just use it without getting like people can use that terminology without getting sued, like so we can
Yeah.
just call it E3 without it being like mentioning your dumb company that is outdated in from the 90s.
Yeah, and like speaking to what you said about, man, you wish everyone just like get together and do something like in a week or whatever under some other branding. I mean, you had Jeff Keighley come knocking on the doors in 2020. Said, knock, knock, knock. Hey guys, I'll fill in for everyone. I mean, everyone kind of said they would fill in, like IG and GameSpot all try to do different things. Then you end up with 20 different events happening all across the summer. It ends up dragged down and everything. But Jeff, Summer Game Fest, and he had that brand, and he tried to get everyone under that umbrella. And last year was the first in-person, Summer Game Fest for at least press, for media to actually attend. And at least the consensus I heard or read was this has potential. This went well. Let's see where it goes from here. So now, of course, as soon as this report went live earlier in the week, 5 minutes later, here's Jeff Keighley. Hey guys, Summer Games Fest. Don't forget about that. June 8th. Don't forget about that, guys. And I like that. I like Summer Game Fest. And I agree with you that for me, E3 has always been this thing where like I started watching E3, G4 as well. That's how I got introduced to E3. I think the first one, it's tough for me to remember if it was 2005 or 2006 E3. I forgot which one it was my first one. But like whatever year it was from then on, I was always watching E3 each year, whether it was on G4 and then catching up on trailers on gametrailers.com and reading up news on IGN and everything like that. And just like it's been a constant in my life. So I have that nostalgia for it. And because of that, I don't want E3 to die. I've been constantly beating the drum of I think E3 could come back. I think it can. I want it to. There's potential there. There's value to be had there. But honestly, I think this is kind of like the bell is ringing at this point of E3 is dying. Get with the program, Tyler. It's dying. You need to come to terms with that. And I really do think that like if Sony, Microsoft, and Nintendo are not at E3, not a part of it in any way, shape, or form, right? And it's only like third-party publishers there, which isn't like to slight third-party publishers or anything. Like Ubisoft, EA, Activision, Bandai, whoever, the Square, like you all are great and stuff. That you all are still fine. But not having the big three there or any of them at all takes away a lot from E3. Just in terms of energy, in terms of excitement and value, for me personally, it takes away something. So I actually wonder, like, without them there, is there a reason to be excited for E3? Or is E3 at this point just like, it's just another show, it's just another event?
I think
instead of like
E3,
the big event to be excited for.
I think E3, the title is just a show right now.
Yes.
Once it finally dies, slow act, whatever, they need to sell the fucking naming rights to Jeff Keighley so we can just like, because again, will it be the same? No, but like I still firmly believe Microsoft's gonna have a press conference. I don't know. Will they partner with Keighley and like have it officially be part of Summer Games Fest? I don't know. Maybe they make its own thing. Gerstmann was talking about, because I binged a bunch of his podcast episodes this week, but he was talking about this too and said, I guess like, obviously he's got a lot of sources, but apparently when he was hearing like Nintendo, it was less of like a statement about E3 as much as they were like, hey, we don't have enough to show up. Like they were
That's
just
what
like,
I heard too.
yeah,
I heard
just
that
like
from Andy
it's not
Robinson over at
personal.
VGC.
We don't got shit to say. We ain't paying that fee, you know? Like,
Yeah, I heard that from
so
Andy Robinson on VGC was tweeting that out, saying that like Microsoft doesn't really have the marketing budget for it right now, and because of all the layoffs they're doing and everything like that, they probably don't have much of a marketing budget for it. Nintendo probably has no games to show. Like Zelda comes out a month before E3. What other games do they have? Pikmin, that's not like your big E3 game. Sorry, Pikmin fans. Metroid, who knows what state Metroid is in? What else is there that they would have to show? Nothing really that we can think of or know of. And Sony is just Sony. They're not there. So
yeah,
like it makes sense. Which it's
yeah.
I feel like part of it is circumstance on some people's end, but also part of it is like, yeah, where we could kind of do our own thing right now. Why would we even come back?
Right.
And
Like, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say that goes into some of the report here from IAG. I was gonna read like I think 2-3 paragraphs from it because I pulled out this quote here from the report. I believe it was Kat Bailey who did the report. Shout out to Kat. So reading from the IGN report here, they say, quote, according to one knowledgeable source, there have been, quote, ongoing frustrations with the ESA over the last 3 years, who they claim have, quote, incredibly mishandled the E3 brand over the last 3 years, end quote. They corroborated other IGN sources in saying that several major E3 organizers have departed the ESA, quote, leaving a new group to sweep up after them, end quote, and criticize ReedPop's handling of the event. The source claims that ReedPop began contacting publishers about E3 last fall while promising to book spots in December, but with less than 6 months to go until E3, the sources say, there's a lot of missing information. Quote, there's not a good sense that there's an understanding what this show is going to be or how it will come together, which is strange from a company that does such an amazing job with PAX twice a year, end quote. It seems like, there's more of this quote here. Quote, it seemed like they'd be the perfect shepherds for something like E3. So who knows where the issue is? Is it an ESA issue? Is it a ReedPop issue? But there seemed to be a lot of genuine interest from game publishers in the concept of E3. But it's really frustrating that we don't have good solutions, end quote. And the ESA sent out a response. I believe that it was an internal email response to their employees and everything, basically saying, hey, we support ReedPop, so on and so forth, and all like that.
They straight up if you read the email, or well, if you like, or I listen to it again via podcast form, but they straight up don't even deny it. Like, apparently they were telling people like, people are signing up for 2024, I think Gerstmann was just like, it's not good when your whole selling point is, but 2024 guys, like it's, I think like, turn on the TikTok camera, E3, the company dead. E3, the week, will live on potentially forever if we sell kids on it now. Like, we need to like get the week together, get the act together, because like my brother is turning 18 this year. I'm 20, so he's like 11 years younger than me, almost 12. He still likes E3 because he has memories of like me and him sitting down watching those like 2013 Sony press conferences and like losing our minds and shit. But
right.
If like, I don't think kids younger than him give a shit about 3 right now. Like, that first week of June, if you don't change that soon, then eventually it just dies off with us, right? Like, as we get older, as like there becomes less and less people to arrange it and blah, 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 and there's less fondness, there becomes less monetary reason because there's less viewers, then eventually it dies. But that week will live on forever. The naming rights of E3 and the current holding company, they're dead. Like, they are dead. We need to stop having the same discussion every year. Like, yeah, the conference is there. Nobody's going. Also, as Gersman pointed out, is there going to be any games journalists left to cover it at this point? Because
That's a
it's
good
like
question.
IGN will be standing. We know that, but it's like, who else even is there at this point? It's
I mean,
all just
IGN and
yeah,
GameSpot, you
and
imagine would
GameSpot,
still
yeah.
be sticking around and everything. But after past that, maybe Game Informer, hopefully, ideally, they would as well. Polygon, like, do you imagine the big ones? IGN, GameSpot, Polygon, Game Informer would be like the last bastions standing. But
Even then, they all have reduced staff. You know, like
right, and like that's the thing. Of those four, you imagine that IGN and GameSpot would have the most people, almost certainly. Whereas Polygon and Game Informer, it's like, oh, who knows? GameStop, y'all are in a shaky spot right now. Who knows what's going on there and everything?
like even the influencers that'll go, right? Like, obviously, if I were to get enough of a following by June that they're like, they'd send me an invite, I'd go, but like, I'd go because I've never been and it's a fucking life goal. And then,
Yeah.
you know, like, if I'm making money streaming or whatever, making videos at home, after that, if unless there's a financial incentive, like I probably wouldn't go after that. I'd be like, why the fuck would I do that when I can just react at home and at my own home and have everything I need and make money there? And so, like, yeah, it definitely makes sense why outside of nostalgia, like if you're kind of funny, why would you like it's different maybe for Easy Allies a little bit because they're in LA. And if you're for a lot of these influencers, if you're in LA, yeah, sure, why not? But like you don't live in LA, why are you go like to cover things that you can just react like that's all it is, reacting to stand in line for hours to play a demo? No, thank you. Like
Well, that's the
they get
thing.
it.
This year is the year where they have like they're splitting up the days. So there are the media days where it's just for media and press to go. So they're not all lines with the public at the exact same time. Because that's how it's been the past couple of years once they open it to the public. This is the first year where there's like 2-3 days of just press only. And then there's 2 days where it's press and public. But even then, the press are in one section and the public is in another section as well. So like this is a year where like there are moves being made that are smart moves to make E3 more appealing to everyone involved, press, public, attendees, not attendees, the exhibitors, ideally. Like there are smart moves being made that like seem like, okay, this is the year that is going to be like, all right, if this year works out, cool, we can see a future for E3. But if this year doesn't work out, man, what's going to happen? And with the big three potentially not being there, that makes the job even harder.
Well, I have a take here. The TikTok camera stop. I don't know. I the time to go like the whole bring people back, like the public back shit, dead. It's been dead. And here's why. Because if you have a whole separate day for the public, at that point, you're fucking PAX. That's what you are. You're not like me and you both have the same reverence and fondness for E3. It seems like we're close to it. And like those memories of like people crowding into the different halls and everything. And it was just like a mess. So they cleaned that up. And then, it got too boring. And so they brought some people back and it was like this back and forth pull. And I think we've now reached the point though where I don't know. You have dreamed of going to E3 pretty much your whole life as well.
Yep.
Like, do you feel like it's condescending and it's basically PAX to have an all public day? Because I certainly do. Like, there's no chance in hell I would pay because even if I had the money right now, I would just go take a real vacation. I'm not going. And E3 for most of my life seemed like the ideal vacation, but it no longer is. It's like I would just go to PAX instead if I wanted to do that. Or, God forbid, fucking Comic-Con. Probably not because that's just too much for me. But, like I would go to something along those lines where it's catered to being that instead of being a press event where they go, hey guys, one day you want to come in and blah, blah, blah. It's like,
I don't know. I don't know if I'd say I would see it as like condescending because one, I've never been PAX. I know there's like PAX East and West and whatever and so on and so forth.
Either have I. Another reason I would go there instead.
Yeah, I've never been. I've always wanted to go to E3, like you said. And like I know now that like if I was to go to E3 now, it is in no way, shape, or form going to be what I always dreamed of it being, back in, middle school me to high school me years. Like it's not in any way, shape, or form going to be anywhere close to that because things have changed over the years. E3 has changed, the games industry has changed, and all like that.
Yeah.
But I think I would still be excited to go just for the bucket list aspect of it, the life dream aspect of it. Even though I imagine I'd get there, I'd be like, man, I like expected it to be like this, and I'm still slightly disappointed. Maybe I don't know how I'd feel. I don't think I'd feel condescended to though, because because there's like a public day and press day and all like that. Like I wouldn't, because I always wanted E3 to allow the public to go to it. I always wanted that. So when they first did that, I was like, yes, great, finally, I am able to. It's just a matter of when I can do it. So
Yeah,
that's why I am on it.
For me, that bucket list experience is now Keely.
Help me out here.
Invite me to whatever previews, whatever you have. Like that's what it is now. Is this just becomes like moving the bar, pushing the bar over to like, all right, now it's just get press credentials and go get to be a part of Summer Games Fest.
Yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is now for me. Like at this point in my life, because of where E3 is and where I am in life now, it's less a thing of, man, I want to go to E3. Although I would love to go to E3 because of, life dream, name and everything. But it's more a thing of now, man, I would love to be at these summer game events. I want to be there during that season. Like, so E3, Summer Game Fest, all happening at the same time. I would love to be there. Less of a E3 specific thing.
That's why like if I just thought about it, that's why I was laughing a little. If I got a press invite from E3, I'd be like, oh, this is cool. And then I would immediately be like, do I even want to go? Versus like, I'd cry if Jeff Keighley sent me one and be like, I made it, guys. Mama, because it's like, oh, you made it. Whereas E3, you're just like, it's like, when you were a kid or a teenager or whatever, just be like, oh, but is your friend at the party? Like, hey, E3, thanks. But like, could you maybe forward this to Jeff?
Forward this to him, please. Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
You're like, respectfully, is Jeff there?
Is Jeff there though? Oh man. You know who's saying something similar to that though right now? Someone saying similar to that is the Titanfall fan base, okay? Because EA keeps selling them. They're like, hey, Apex stuff is happening. And then Titanfall fans are like, is Titanfall going to be there? And then EA's like, who? Who are you talking about now? What's going on?
It's genuinely cute that Apex started out as like a Titanfall thing. And it's like, I'm sure there are dorks that will get mad and be like, it is part. But like, come on, guys. Like,
it started off as a Titanfall spinoff and now has become its own brand that Titanfall is a part of.
Yeah, now Titanfall's just like Titanfall's now the side piece of that franchise.
Exactly. We got the news this week, or at least a report from Bloomberg, that EA has canceled an unannounced single-player Titanfall game. Sorry to all the Titanfall fans. According to Bloomberg, this game, the single-player game, of course, it was set in the universe that Titanfall and Apex Legends share. It was codenamed Titanfall Legends. That was a code name. Whether or not that was going to be the full name, who knows? But that was the code name for it. I wonder how they thought of that. And it was a team of 50 people, and they will either be moved to other positions in the company or laid off and given severance packages. Where do you fall on Titanfall? Did you play any of the Titanfall games?
Oh, I love two fucking rules.
I liked 2. I didn't play 1. That was online only. I didn't have an Xbox at the time. I played 2 though when it was on PS Plus a couple years ago.
Oh, and I bought it launch day or launch week.
Gotcha. No, I played it on PS Plus and I was like, this is cool. I didn't see greatest single player FPS of all time campaign status, but I was like, this is fun. And I
was close to it.
I enjoyed the effect and cause level, the time level and all like that. I was like, that's dope. It's cool. But I wasn't like on that best of all time status that many people were on. But I enjoyed the campaign well enough.
So I do think there's something to that effect, right? Of you came in after all of the effusive praise. Whereas for me, it's like it got like, just to paraphrase, if you weren't there, it got absolutely raw dogged by EA. Like it got sent out to die.
Well, that was Respawn's decision. That was their decision to release it when they did.
Listen, man. Okay, but sometimes as a publisher, you need to go, hey guys, you're getting fucked if you release this right
You sure
now.
you want
Like
to release this between
we're making an
Battlefield and Call of
executive
Duty?
decision. We're making an executive decision for all of us to make more money by putting this out either a few weeks or releasing it before then, if possible. But it's all these games coming out, like just not even just Battlefield, but also like other stuff's coming out. It's the fall window, and just like playing it and being like, okay, it's pretty good, pretty good. And then it was just like, is this an all-timer? And it was like, hell yeah, it is. Like, oh man, just I remember having that feeling of like, I can't be the only one thinking this shit rules. And then sure enough, being vindicated, like there were dozens of us at first, and then eventually it became just this growing over the years. People are like, holy shit, Titanfall 2. And it's like, yeah, Titanfall 2.
I've always loved the movement and the gameplay. The gameplay is always great. I just didn't see I was like, I don't see
it's the time level. The time level, like injected
like,
into my veins.
Past that level, like before and after the level, I was like, I don't see it, but that level was like it's top notch, top tier, first person campaign shooter level of all time. So how do you feel about Titanfall essentially being sidelined by Apex and all these years since?
It's fine. When everything happened to Titanfall 2, I was like, it's done, guys. Like
it is what it is.
It's been a wrap. I think the most depressing part of this whole decision is just that it was literally like a group of people there just at Respawn like, hey, can we please make another Titanfall game? We'll even we'll connect it to Apex, like we'll make it a big push to connect the lore and blah blah blah. And EA was like, yeah, sure, that'll make some money. And then they just came back and they were like, sorry guys, we don't have the funds for that. And it's just like those poor, like they probably wanted to do anything other than Apex updates, and they were just like, we started with this universe we think it's super cool, it's super well received, we just want to make another game. And they were just like, sorry. And it's like,
I imagine the devs were like, okay, like you don't want Titanfall on the name, fine, we'll call the game Apex Legends Titans Rising, okay, please just let us do.
They were just like,
anything, please. But no, instead more Apex Legends. And I mean, like, I'm not the world's biggest Titanfall fan, I'm nothing against it, but I would love to see a third one. And it has been a shame, as a outsider looking at the Titanfall community, just seeing them like every time there's a glimmer of hope that something Titanfall related will end up in Apex Legends, or that there will be a Titanfall 3, seeing that glimmer of hope appear, and it was like, more, it's coming. And then it's just like taken away from them. They're like, no.
I mean, yeah, if there's people, just Titanfall fans out there getting their hopes up, why? Like, I
feel so bad. But like, do you think that it's gonna happen, that like a single player Titanfall game will happen at some point? Because I mean, Respawn has said that they hold the Titanfall IP near and dear. They haven't given up on it. They want to do some more with it.
Yeah, it'll happen in 20 years when EA can cash in on nostalgia. That's how this works. I'm not like, I don't know. Nothing has vindicated my cynicalness quite like the video game industry. Like 100%, one will happen. Don't even think about it for another decade, guys. Just strap in. Like, just pretend like it's not happening. And even then, it's not for sure. It's, will the math work out that they can sell off that nostalgia? You better hope the Titanfall 2 keeps gaining its cult status, because that just means more and more nostalgia to cash in on, and more of that, like, they want that, they want that Shenmue pop, but like ultimately, was that financially worth it? We don't know. So that's one of those factors. Just strap in. It's a long time. If you're new here, like people older than me, I don't know how you guys that are still optimistic. I don't know how you do it. Personally, I'm just like, well, if something doesn't sell 1 billion copies, it's not happening, guys.
How much do you want to bet that Titanfall 1 and 2 get a remaster on the next generation of consoles before Titanfall 3 happens?
I would say that'd be like the setup for interest, right? A lot of they do that a lot, so I would not be shocked.
They do, but
I don't know if it's one though. It might just be 2. I wouldn't be surprised if they retcon how they pronounce Titanfall 2, because I bet a lot of people didn't play it because nobody played Titanfall 1.
Fair. Or
Um,
better yet, instead of remaster, just reboot. And it's just
yeah,
called
exactly.
it's Titanfall something.
Reboot it, and just make it Titanfall. Or not like need Titanfall, but make the story Titanfall 2. Just like remaster Titanfall 2 essentially, and make that Titanfall 1 new canon. You know what I mean? Because Titanfall 1 seems like
Was
there
just
was basically
multiplayer.
no story. Yeah, so it's like I don't know. Titanfall 2 looked so rad, or not Titanfall 2. Titanfall 1 looked so fucking rad though when it
When
first
it
got
was
announced. Like
for
I remember
sure.
wanting an Xbox One because of Titanfall. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah. But then financially couldn't afford it. Barely got my PS4, and it was just like, it's one of those things where like if you get hyped like me, you're so excited for something, then the second it comes out, you're just like, yeah, I guess we will live if we don't play that.
That was me. I was like, when it got announced, I was like, oh, this seems super cool. I'm not getting an Xbox One. I want a PS4, but man, this looks super cool. Hopefully, I can play it one day. And then Titanfall 2 got announced. I was like, this is super cool. I'll finally be able to play Titanfall. I didn't play it until like 2020, I think, when it came to PS Plus. And then I was like, awesome, finally played it. This is great. And I never touched it again after that. But I mean, hey, I enjoy Titanfall. Titanfall's cool. It's an awesome concept. I love the gameplay, the movement and all. It's super cool. And it's an IP that like it deserves to live. It deserves its own spotlight. It doesn't deserve to be the IP that gave birth to Apex Legends. It is now playing second fiddle to Apex Legends. It doesn't deserve that. It deserves better.
Well, that's the video game industry sometimes.
I couldn't have said it any better myself. And the video game industry just loves to screw us all over. Players, developers, press. It just says, "Oh yeah, you like your job. You like what you're doing. We're gonna screw you. We're gonna screw you because no, we don't want you to be enjoying this thing. You don't get to enjoy the video game industry." All right, we're gonna move on to another first-person shooter. We're gonna talk a little bit more about Halo Infinite and 343 Industries in light of the recent shakeup that happened on over there following the massive layoffs that happened at Microsoft across the board. We probably won't talk too much about this because we only have a couple more details, more so like clarification than anything, courtesy of Jason Schreier over from Bloomberg. So based off what he has said here, he's kind of more so, like I said, clarified, confirmed some things that were like all these rumors going around after those layoffs happened and all. So we now know, according to him, at least 95 people lost their jobs from Microsoft's recent layoffs, including directors and contractors. And that's what happened at 343. Now, there were also rumors, and there have been rumors for a while, that the Halo series will be switching from their own Slip Space engine to Unreal Engine. That is confirmed according to Jason Schreier. That will be happening for future games. They will be on Unreal Engine, not the Slip Space engine like Halo Infinite is. And this is going to start with the long rumored game that's codenamed Tatanka, which it's being co-developed by 343 and Certain Affinity. And this has been long rumored to be a battle royale game. And according to Jason Schreier, it started off as a battle royale game, but his sources say it may evolve into something more than that. So who knows what that might be. But this engine switching from Slip Space to Unreal, has some of the devs worried about future games actually feeling like Halo when you play them. Like Halo has a specific feel to it. So they're worried about, hey, that feel might not be there on Unreal Engine. And then there's also the bigger clarification here that about story content for Halo Infinite. After the report came out about all the layoffs and stuff, there was the rumor that, oh man, the whole story divisions basically got slashed. There's no more story stuff happening, or the story stuff, they're stopped working on it now. According to Jason Schreier, 343 was never working on new story content for Halo Infinite. The devs were pitching new game ideas for the series in Unreal Engine, and many of those people were laid off. And the team is they're not actively working on any new story content, just multiplayer stuff going forward. Tyler, you got any take on this? I mean, like I said, it's more so just clarification, solidification of things that we were talking about beforehand, minor updates.
It's kind of a bummer. Seems like, are we all sure Halo Infinite sequel's happening? Because I'm not so sure it is. Who knows? Like, you could tell me anything with Halo. We're entering that zone where you just be like, oh well, and I'd be like, sure, yeah, I believe it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like I said when we talked about it, it was like what 1, 2 episodes ago. It was 2 episodes ago. Like I said, we talked about it then. I mean, I want the best for Halo. I want the best for the series, and it's like I want to have faith, but we've done this song and dance so many times of this is the one, this is the one, this is the one, and this news doesn't make me feel any more confident in the series. Like I'm not sure. Like okay, when the next mainline game is announced, like all right, am I gonna be how excited? I mean, I'll be excited for it. And I said this actually in response to a tweet that Paris Lilly, kind of funny gamer tag radio, host of XCast over there, posted this week about Halo. I'm paraphrasing what he said, but essentially was like, Halo is always going to be relevant. It's never going to be irrelevant and all like that. And I responded, I said, like, yeah, like Halo will never slash Master Chief will never truly be irrelevant or not important, but you gotta wonder again after all these starts and stops, these constant 2 steps forward, 1 step back, or 1 step forward, 2 steps back for the series. By the time the next game comes around, like how important is Halo going to be to the majority of people? Like, yes, there'll still be that cultural significance to it, but how important, like how much are people going to care that a new Halo is here, aside from the diehard fans? And even then, some of the diehard fans, you got to wonder, like, how much are they going to be like, oh man, it's happening, it's happening?
Uh,
Like, I really
yeah,
wonder.
like I think the number of people that give a shit about Halo has dwindled. Like it's past its peak as far as those numbers go, just from a number standpoint. And I don't know if it ever gets back to that peak. It's possible. I'm not saying it won't. I just don't like. I'm not certain either way. Significant or like relevant is kind of a weird word because it's like, what does that mean? Of course, people out there will always be interested in a new Halo game, but will that ever reach record breaking numbers again? I don't know. Like math, history says probably not, but who knows? To put it another way, like can you like imagine at the end of the 360 and PS3 at what 10 years later or 8 years, 9 years whatever that God of War would be more relevant, more popular than Halo? Shit's wild. But it is. Like I think
It
like
is.
unequivocally like people care about God of War now way more than they do Halo and then that's because, it's just a decade of fucking shit up. It's just like it's just been this every single Halo game. It just feels like it's being held together with duct tape and paper clips, like
I
I
mean,
I
according to
don't know what's
people who
going
talk
on.
about the engine, I mean, it seems like the engine is kind of like held together by duct tape and all like that. So, I mean, that's part of why they're switching to Unreal. Unreal is just easier to work with. I mean, in the report, I didn't put it here in the doc, but in the report, Jason Schreier says that there are like 2 game modes that are basically done for Halo Infinite from multiplayer, but they haven't been released yet because the Slip Space engine is just making it incredibly difficult for them to like actually put those final touches on it and get it on out there. So that's why they want to switch to Unreal because it's just so much easier to work with. It's more ubiquitous in the industry, and it also plays into the contractor thing because 343 use a lot of contractors. So when they're only there for a certain amount of time, you're bringing people in, sending people out, and all, and trying to get them up to speed on your own custom engine as opposed to a commonly used engine across the industry, that being Unreal. Like it makes sense that things become more clear as to why the problems have been happening and all like that. So hopefully
Yeah.
Halo gets better. Hopefully, that's all I can say. Really, don't got much more about it than that. You got any more to say about Halo?
Yeah.
Well, with all that said about Halo, that's really our main news for the week. It's really kind of a lightish week in terms of news. We're going to get into these brief mentions, which are kind of actually PlayStation heavy for the most part. Let's start with the PlayStation Plus Essential games for February. They are Ollie Ollie World, PS4 and PS5, Evil Dead the Game, PS4 and PS5, Destiny 2 Beyond Light, PS4 and PS5, and then Mafia Definitive Edition for PS4. I definitely want to play Ollie Ollie World and Mafia
Yeah,
Definitive
that's what I
Edition.
was thinking. As a big horror fan, Evil like I want Evil Dead the game for my physical collection just to like because there's certain licenses that I want like every physical game for. So I think it'd be cool to have all the Evil Dead games. But this game in particular couldn't give a shit less about because it's like all it's I have a real whole thing about I'm so sick and tired of horror games being like overtaken by like online stuff. Like I
Oh,
could
like the
not care.
asynchronous where like one person's hunting everyone.
It's and I know this one's different, but it's still just like, come on, just like, you know, like I don't know, maybe it wouldn't have sold as well, but like, God, it would have just been so much cooler to just have another cool Evil Dead game, like, you know,
Yeah, if it was maybe like
my
a single
personal thing.
player, maybe it was like a single player story focused one, maybe
Yeah, because they
that was
have
more
them.
like
There's like older
horror.
Xbox games and stuff that are super cool, and a couple PlayStation ones and everything. Which are they all have decent, they carry decent value, which is why I don't have them, and you don't run into them all the time. And I don't like to buy on eBay unless it's like something I know I'm never gonna see. But yeah, so I like it. I'll probably buy it eventually. I wanted to buy it when GameStop or Best Buy had like a price mess up and put it for like $10, but I missed out on it. So now
Ah
I'll wait till
man.
it naturally gets down there. But yeah, Ollie World does look cool. Um, I mean, nothing here is really impressive. Like, if you're playing, who's just like, let me get into Destiny? Like, it's you missed the boat, man.
I mean, hey, this. To be fair, the expansions end up on sale fairly often. That's how I ended up catching up last year because like they were all on sale for quite a bit of time. So I bought Shadowkeep and Beyond Light because I think those are normally 20-30 bucks, and I got them for like 10 each, 10-15 each. So I bought those two, and then I bought Witch Queen later on and all like that. So it makes sense. Oh, hold on. Okay, never mind. Did you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, got it.
I'm sorry, I was reading the docket too, seeing, yeah, like, I was like, all right, time to move on to the next point.
Sorry, no, yeah, because my internet froze for a second. My
Oh no, you're good. I didn't see it. That yeah, so that's probably why. Because I had a Firefox pulled up looking at the thing.
gotcha,
Um,
gotcha. But yeah,
all
so
right,
that's PS Plus essential. And then
yeah.
disappointing PlayStation news, the PS Plus collection that is free for all PlayStation 5 owners, everyone who has a PS5 has had access to this from day one. It is being removed on May 9th. The games that are part of it can still be downloaded after this date and played so long as they have been redeemed. So, if you want to take my advice, if you are a PS5 owner and have PlayStation Plus, even if you have these games physically already, just add them to your PlayStation Plus library. Just do it. That way you just have them digitally as well. So if you don't ever want to pick up your disc, you could just download it onto your console for free. Do that. I promise you, you'll be very happy that you did that. I did that for Final Fantasy 15, and that's how I was able to play it like a year or two ago when my girlfriend has my physical copy of it. So do that. This is still disappointing though, that it's happening at all. And I was always wondering how long the PS Plus collection was going to be around. Uh, I'm amazed it was around this long. I thought it'd be around longer, but I guess all good things have to come to an end at some point.
Yeah, I mean, like I can see like people being upset about it, but also like, I mean, these games aren't exactly like they're old. They're old, and it's like I get it. If someone buys a PlayStation, it's a nice jumping off point.
Yeah,
I don't know. Maybe Sony is a sign of goodwill. Just give them like a PS Plus monthly code for 1 month or something, so that way they can like go play an older library or whatever. But historically, what ends up happening is as consoles get older, they just come in bundles anyways. So I assume something like that'll happen. And also, I don't know, like if a kid, someone without money, is buying a console, how many of these are appealing to them anyways? Like they're gonna go download Fortnite or Apex or fucking, whatever. So like I don't know. Sometimes I think there's like a little bit of outrage for things that like five people care about, and this is people getting mad about it. I can understand like free stuff going away, not good, but also like nobody's that affected by this.
I think at this point in time, I actually haven't seen outrage about it. And I think it's because of how much time has gone by since the PS5 release that it's happening. If this happened in 2021 or beginning of 2022, then there would be understandably more people upset about it. But I think at this point in time, by the time this happens, it'll be 2.5 years since the PS5 was released. I mean, at that point, there's no real need to be torn up about it unless you just haven't got a PS5 yet. You've never played any of these games. Um, so yeah, it's happening. Sad, but is what it is. Positive PlayStation news. God of War Ragnarok.
Actually, if you don't mind, I apologize. I gotta run to the restroom real quick. I'll pause my recording. Sorry, I know you'll have to edit this, but
Go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
yeah,
Do what you gotta
sorry.
do. Go ahead. And through the magic of editing, we are back. As we were saying, God of War Ragnarok has sold 11 million units. That's, I think, amazing considering, it's a single player game. It's only been out 2 months. No, a bit over 2 months, roughly close to 3.
Yeah.
Just great legs for God of War Ragnarok and Sony Santa Monica. It's like hats off to them for that one. Also, the PS5 sold 7.1 million units during the sales quarter ending December 31st, 2022, making it the console's best ever sales quarter. This is the third quarter of Sony's fiscal year. So that is also a 34% year over year increase. So this means that 12.8 million units were sold during the 2022 financial year for Sony so far. And the total number of PS5 consoles sold since launch is 32 million units. So Sony is now raising their annual sales target for this current fiscal year from 18 million units to 19 million. Do you think they'll make it?
Probably. Seems like they're selling them almost as fast as they can, make them. Maybe that'll slow down a little bit, but I mean, they've sold a shit ton of PS5s, and it makes sense. I think a little bit. I think part of it was the fervor, but I honestly just think a lot of people were ready to upgrade from the 4 to the 5. And I think as they become more readily available, the people that were probably cool with waiting a little bit longer are going to, slowly make that upgrade. Now, I don't know, with kind of what seems like we've been having a recession, so I don't know, that plays into maybe them not meeting those sales goals. But I think people with the disposable income, as they become more available, will start to make that upgrade. I know at some point we'll probably have a second one me and my girlfriend each have a PS5, but I'm the kind of person that wants one in every room because it's like,
put one in the bathroom, put one in the kitchen.
We're downstairs and it's like, we don't have a good enough Wi-Fi signal. We don't have a little pod thing downstairs. So even if I had remote play and I had if I had the, forget what it's called.
Backbone.
Backbone. Yeah. If I had a backbone, even then, I don't know how great the remote play would be. So realistically, and then a lot of times what happens is we want to hang out on the couch, but there's my 4 runs garbage. So it's that's downstairs and I don't want to play anything on that. So I'm like, damn, I just wish I had a 5 down here because I'm not going to lug it back and forth. And I do mostly play it in here. But yeah, realistically, we could end up with 4 in our household and it would not be surprising.
I'm definitely going to get my girlfriend one. I've been planning to get her one for a while. And I'm happy about this. It makes it seem like it's going to be easier for me to get it for her. I'm trying to get it for her before Final Fantasy 16 comes out. So I think it can make that happen. I think it could.
They've been caught in the wild. Yeah. So,
yeah. Star Wars Jedi Survivor has been delayed from March 17th to April 28th. Rest in peace, Dead Island 2. You are releasing on that same day. Hopefully you make the smart decision to move. Please do.
Yeah, I think Dead Island, though, will be. So here's my take. I think Dead Island will actually be fine.
Interesting. Okay.
I believe Dead Island 2's target audience is not who we think it is. I know some people, I don't think it's for me and you. I think we might play that game, right? I don't think it's for people that are heavily invested in video games that are consistently getting the newest games. Dead Island did really well with people that just buy 1 game a year, maybe 2. And it's just had legs. I think that's probably the target demo for Dead Island 2. The people that see zombie game, know Dead Island, know they really liked it and go, oh, wow, there's a new one. That means probably a disappointing first couple, initial sales, but I think it probably ends up having legs. And even if it's deemed initially a financial failure, it probably makes it up, if not more so. Probably sells a lot of units at $40, $20, more so than it will at that initial 60 or 70 price tag. But that's my take about Dead Island 2. Because the first one didn't do gangbusters right away. It did okay. And then eventually it just became this thing. And I've seen people if you ever meet someone in high school 10 years later that like kind of likes video games, ask them, and they've probably played Dead Island, but they probably can't name you 6 other games they played the last decade. Other than like, it's like 2K, Apex, it's free stuff, it's sports games, it's Call of Duty, and weirdly enough, Dead Island.
Don't forget GTA.
Yeah, probably GTA.
I mean, again, this is Star Wars we're talking about, and that name alone.
But those people don't care about Star Wars. You know what I mean?
You don't know that. That you don't know that.
Oh, I know that. Yeah, they don't. They might watch the movies. They certainly don't care about playing the Star Wars game. The Star Wars game is for people like you and me. They probably will lose some sales based off that alone, 100%. But I think ultimately it doesn't like massively damage their target audience.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. The Crew Motorfest has been announced, set on the island of Oahu. Hope I pronounced that correctly, in Hawaii. And it is set to release at some point this year. Ubisoft didn't say when. We got a short teaser trailer for it. Seems like it's really focusing on like, hey, there's a festival happening on the island and all. It seems like it's really leaning into like the Forza Horizon type of vibe and all like that. I mean, hey, do you? Now, multiple different games were announced to be getting shut down this week. And by shut down, I mean shut down. Servers coming to an end. Done. Let's start it off. At first, it was just one, then it became two, then it became six. Rumbleverse. This is that wrestling battle royale game that released, I believe, in September of last year. That's getting shut down on February 28th. Apex
Less
Legends.
Than a year. That's wild. Right. For a game that did well. Like, people like that game.
I don't remember anyone talking. Like, I know select people talked about it, like, influencer wise, but I forgot this game existed.
Yeah, I mean, it's just they didn't have a big enough audience, and that was kind of the thing though. There weren't numbers released. There wasn't anything. Because Gerstmann was talking a little bit about this, and he likes the game a lot. He knows some of the people that worked on it. I know like Greg Miller was big into it. Yeah, so like it definitely had a fan base, but it seems like just whatever Epic thought maybe they were going to get, because like an Epic Games thing, but between them and the studio.
Yeah, they published it.
That they were just kind of like, yeah, it's not worth the investment for us anymore. And so like it seems like from the talk that the team might get to keep the license. I don't know, but kind of a bummer because the game, was beloved by some people for sure.
Then we got Apex Legends Mobile shutting down on May 1st. Crossfire X, the multiplayer and the single player, getting shut down on May 18th. I mean, that's not really a loss for anyone, but it's just surprising that the single player is also going away entirely May 18th. That's like, wow. Now, this is the one that hits my heart so hard, so bad here. Knockout City is coming to an end on June 6th. This one hits hard for me because I don't know where you are on Knockout City, but I know that
I love it.
The community, like everyone, the gaming community laughed at this game when it was first announced. We were like, "Oh, this looks so dumb. What is this?
Garbage."
And then the beta came along, and I said, "I'll play it. Why not? I'll cover it for Play to Win. I'll do a video on it." I expected to play for just an hour. I'm not joking. My entire weekend was just gone to that game, and I was like, I love this. That was the first game I did a video on for Play to Win. I still love that video to death. And I loved that game so much. Yes, as the natural course of things go, I did end up falling off the game because other games come up and I want to play and stuff like that. Didn't stop playing it for any reason other than that. But it was a game I knew I could jump back into every so often when I wanted to play something casual that wasn't too intense, but just also still fun. And it's a shame that it's coming to an end right now. And I mean, the developer Velma Studios said it's mainly because they're still a small studio and they can't support the game that they want to at their studio size. So
if you read between the lines and how they messaged it, it seems like they were ill prepared for the battle pass in kind of live service parts of the game. They were like definitely ready
coming back.
Yeah, like the retention is hard. Like they were definitely ready and able to update a standard multiplayer experience. But like, man, is that retention and the like all of us needing battle pass and pew, 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 like all these neurons firing off. They're like that part's hard. And it seems like They're not sure. It sounds like they probably want the license because they specifically say like we're not saying Knockout City isn't coming back. We really want it to, but we also can't guarantee it will come back.
Yeah, it seems
Um,
like they might do like it seems like they're either gonna move on to a new IP and like a new IP period, a new game in the Knockout City universe, or like maybe just a new IP entirely, and then maybe this game itself will come back at some point in the future in some way, shape, or form. I'm not sure, but it's a loss. It's a huge
yeah,
loss.
I mean, I've got I could check, but like I probably have at least 50 to 60 hours on this. Me and the
Oh,
homie
same.
Misha, yeah, me and the homie Misha, she was like the first one that was like, "Hey, you got to check this game out." And I was like, "That game looks terrible." And it was during the beta, and then I was just like, "Fuck it, it's free. I'll play with you." And it was super good, and I was just like, "Damn, I guess I'm spending $20." And so I
Mm-hmm.
got it, and yeah, me and her just like had a blast. It just became our go-to multiplayer game for a while. Just we'd like stay up till 6 in the morning. We'd both be drinking and just sitting there shooting the shit and playing. Like I have some fond memories with that game. The second I saw that it was announced, I sent her the link, and I'm like, "It's dying."
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
that. I saw that news that what they announced that on Thursday, I think. And I had just got back home from hanging out with my girlfriend that night. So I got home, showered and everything. Made a quick call to her, got off the phone, went on Twitter, and I saw it. I was like, no. I was like, what? No. But the team, they're gonna be, they said that season 9, which is starting soonish. It's the last season, and it's like they said there's gonna be events like every 2 weeks or something like that. All the cosmetics and stuff is going to be free. There's going to be like a bunch of different events and then a nice going away like send off event at the end of it all. And then there will on the PC version at least there will be private player servers. So PC people will still be able to play the game with their own private servers, but everywhere else outside of PC, the game will be done June 6th. Very, very sad. I'm definitely got to get back on there before it goes away
oh yeah.
because like I love that game. Love it, love it, love it. It deserves so much better. Echo VR, that's a VR game, VR type like frisbee sport type game. I played a bit of it with my Meta Quest 2. Oh God, I just said my Meta Quest 2. Jesus Christ, I couldn't have just said my Quest 2. I had to throw Meta in there.
Yeah, I would never in my life say that.
I'm mad I did. But this is getting shut down August 1st, and then Battlefield Mobile is also just not happening. It's getting shut down at some point in time. Sad shutdowns. And then more somber news. Annie Wershing, who played Tess in the Last of Us, the game version, she passed away from cancer this week at the age of 45. This was actually announced this past Sunday, like hours before episode 3 of the Last of Us show aired. Neil Druckmann, Craig Mazin, they put out a statement, about it and all like that. And they said that episode 3 of the show will be dedicated to her. So definitely lost with
R.I.P.
her and her family. Sad,
Yep.
sad, sad thing. Those are the brief mentions, though. That is it. Um, got two things we can do here. We can either do what we've been playing and then this question, and then what we've been playing, or just what we've been playing. What do you think? How much do you have to say about what you've been playing this week? That'll determine what we do.
I can probably like it doesn't have to take forever. If you want to do the question, I'm cool with that. Um, like I mean I've got one game I want to I'm like a little more passionate about, but even then it won't be forever. So
So let's
I'm
hear
down to
that.
do both in whatever order.
Okay, so then let's talk about what we've been playing. I'll go first because I have not too much really to say other than I finished High Five Rush. Super enjoyed that game. Really, really loved it. My review, as you all know, is not out right now because this week has been incredibly mentally and physically draining, and I've not had the time to actually sit down and write that review out. I wanted it out Wednesday or Thursday. That was just not going to be able to happen. And I realized that come like Sunday, Monday.
It
So
is a banger.
it is a banger of a game, though. I am going to do my review of it. It will be coming out sometime soon. I'm hoping I can have it out in the next week. So look forward to that. Tyler, tell me about the two games you have been playing. You start with whatever one you want.
Oh, all right. Let me tell you about a little game called Vampire Survivors, baby. Woo!
Vampire Survivors.
Oh
Tell us
man.
about it.
God damn. What a video game. God damn. Um just the like, okay, so if you're watching the show and you don't know what Vampire Survivors is, in a very small select group of people, but I'll do the basic breakdown. It is a one stick shooter. Not like in the vein of dual stick shooters without the second stick. It is I how I mentioned to you how I ended up playing this is I was working, playing and listening to Jeff Gerstmann's podcast. He was doing his Codies, and for like 10 different categories brought up this game. And so I was like, man, maybe I should play it. And like just hearing it, how like I didn't know a ton about it. I didn't know it could be done in short sessions, etc. Hadn't really seen a ton other than like the announcement that it was coming to mobile. And I'd heard so many good things about it that when I saw what it looked like, it just didn't match up. And I was like, I don't know if it's for me. But because it's on Game Pass, it was one of those things where I was like, I'll try it. I'll play it. And it is just so like the blend of roguelite mixed with just like the arcadiness of it, and the simplicity of it that really taps into that like one more run mentality. And also the vagueness and not knowing anything does help, I think, a little bit, because you're just like, you're really intrigued. It explains nothing to you, which I really enjoy. And I think you're just like, okay, so what's the point? What am I trying to do? And then you get it and you're like, oh, I got it. And the strategy of like, okay, because it takes those like if you've played Hades, or a lot of these roguelites will have basically like a this or that kind of choice about buffs, stats, power-ups. It takes that in really, because of the heightened go game, moment to moment gameplay of it, it takes that and amps it up times like 100. You're like, all right, what is actually going to help my run here more? And you're basically just like, there's hordes, legions of these, vampires coming at you, different types. There's bats, there's skeletons, there's all kinds of shit coming at you, and you're constantly shooting. But there's different classes. There's, and they all have different weapons, which do function differently. It's real easy to get your ass whooped and die quickly, but you figure out which power-ups make you feel at times like going from that like sense of vulnerability and scared to feeling like an actual god is just like, it is such a video game, but in the best way, man. Like it is just, it really made me feel like that first time you find a hard like arcade video game as a kid, and then just you go from like feeling like, man, games are hard, to being like, fuck you. That's right. Like, let's go. That is the feeling you get after like a successful ass run in Vampire Survivors. And it has enough of the like progress carrying over. And ultimately, it's not a roguelite because it's like a roguelite for each level, which is kind of a spoiler, like, because at first you're really like, I'll be honest, I didn't know there were levels. It doesn't give you anything, and you're kind of like, you all right? Okay, just making sure. Yeah, you're like, the way you're progressing, you're just like, you're playing it like, you select your guy, or I believe this guy is the first. You select your class, which is the character, and you have no other choice. You look through and you go, oh shit, I gotta buy him. Okay, I guess, like whatever. And then you play it and you're like, you die, after however long your first run takes, and you're just kind of getting used to it. And you're like, okay. And then it's just like, it seems like it's endless. It seems like you're like, okay, where is this going? Is there like a point? Is it just high score? And then, but like, also I'm trying to figure out, I'm like, maybe I'm missing something. And then my runs are getting better and better. And then when you beat that first level, you're like, holy shit, there's other levels now. And so then you're just like, you're getting a hang of it more. And then you unlock more characters that you didn't even know because they aren't in the select screen at first. And it's just like, it masterfully mixes that discovery element that I think is so key to like Souls games, to just any game that's incredibly hard with a community that cares about it. But it's honestly, that stuff is only cool to me after you've played it, because like the discovery isn't a key part of it. Also the difficulty, but also this isn't super difficult. Like you can just play it, have fun as a regular ass arcade game.
Yeah.
but to like progress and beat it. There's definitely a lot of strategy, but it's simple. It's just one stick, man. You know, it's like ultimately, but like with that stick, you do so much. How is your movement? You can like find ways, you pivot, you know, you like when you've got a horde and then you like find a way to weave your way through and you're like, oh my God, I got out of it with like losing no health. Just
it
just
doesn't
a blast. Can't recommend enough. Go play it if you haven't played it. And like arcade, that kind of difficult, but like mysterious arcade, addicting shooter sounds fun to you. Like if that sounds kind of like something that you're like, might be interesting, go play it. And I promise you, you'll be converted. You'll become a weirdo like me that's like, go play this game.
it seems like a game where you can play it as casually or as hardcore as you want to.
Absolutely.
Like
Yep.
it seems like if you, like you said, because it's one stick and all, like in real arcade
and run based,
right? And run based. It seems like if you just want to like play something for like half an hour while you're waiting for dinner to cook or something like that, and you know you just want to turn your brain off or whatnot, you can. Or and like even when you're doing that, like the intensity might ramp up, but like you don't have to turn your brain on too much to get through intense parts. Like it seems like, you know, just like the perfect game. Like, all right, I just want to play a video game just to kick back and relax for the rest of the night. I'm just gonna do this because it doesn't require much energy.
Yeah, like
and that's not a slight against it at all.
No, not at all. Yeah. On Gerson's pod, they talked about they won Steam Deck Game of the Year, and some people in the chat, because he does his pods live, were just joking, like, yeah, I didn't know you could use your Steam Deck for anything other than Vampire Survivors. And after playing it, I'm like, yo, yeah, I can 100%, like, I want a backbone so I can get Xbox Game Pass Ultimate and just sit and like lay in bed, like when I'm just like, I'm tired, but I'm not that tired. Just whip it out and just,
well, you know, there's a mobile version of the game.
Yeah, but I don't want to do it. Like, I don't like using my finger to play games. Like, I'm not a big touch screen game kind of person, so I would want controls. So I'd want the backbone. Maybe I just buy the backbone instead of having to have Game Pass Ultimate. Buy the mobile version and see what the differences are.
Or actually, the mobile version is
free. Yeah,
and I think the mobile version is also vertical screen. I don't know if it's horizontal.
Ew, yeah. See, I know. I'd probably.
I'm just going based off the trailer. I think the trailer was like vertical. I don't think the trailer was horizontal.
I also want a Steam Deck, so who knows? Maybe that's
Okay. See, you're making
because it's got the emulation. You know, me retro gaming.
Oh yeah, and then that's just like it's
I'm like
slam dunk for you right there.
Baby. Yeah.
See, I think you just gave yourself like more reasons to get a Steam Deck than you had like prior to this episode.
The entryway. Like I keep thinking about it occasionally, like eventually, and then now like the door popped open just a little bit more, and I'm like, Steam Deck.
Okay, yeah, I think we're gonna do that. Then we're gonna do that.
I'll send one over. So yeah, that's Vampire Survivors. That's my justification for now getting a Steam Deck. No, I mean, like I'll obviously play a lot of stuff on that, but my second game here, not as much a reason to play Steam Deck, but still fine. I also played, where I bought yesterday. I had it right here. I don't anymore. Well, because I put it up in my collection. But
I was about to say your cat took it with them earlier.
I did. The only thing I had brought earlier, because like we were going to talk about the remakes or whatever. But now we're not. We're going to shelve that. But I brought over because I found these. Well, one of them's remake related, but these are sweet. I have not seen these figures anywhere. Yeah, I like the Link one. This one's damaged, but it's fine. I'll probably unbox this one anyways. Turns out, like, I bought them at Walmart because I'd never seen them. There was only like 2 on a random shelf. They weren't even supposed to go there. And it was like $10, and I was like, I'll get it. Turns out these go for like 20 to 35 on eBay. So that was a good decision. But then remake wise, there's also this one, because I was going to, not to give out some answers, but I've never played Metroid Prime. Really like this Samus one. This one's clean as hell. And I'll probably keep this one boxed. But
real quick for audio listeners, Tyler just held up a boxed figure of Link from Breath of the Wild, and then a boxed action figure of Samus from Metroid Prime. And it's like at the Samus one, it's Samus, like, actually standing up, and then like the Morph Ball version of Samus as well, like next to it. Those look cool. Those are awesome. I've seen the Link one. I've seen pictures of it, but I've never knew there was like a Metroid one. That's awesome.
Yeah, 100%. So SpongeBob the Cosmic Shake, just bought that yesterday. Probably like 3-4 hours in, I think, maybe less. I don't know, it's hard to tell when you're working sometimes. But like I'm close to the end of the third level. There's like 7 levels total, and I'm like 3 levels deep. Okay. and it's fine. I mean, it's got that PS2 jank. It's, you know,
I was about to ask, is it like living up to being like, okay, is it a good like modern day successor to Battle for Bikini Bottom, which I never played. I never played that one, but like, is it a good
it
modern day like sequel
I
of
like,
sorts?
so here's the thing. Level design wise, I think it's less frustrating than Battle for Bikini Bottom. That doesn't mean like, it is kind of amazing how they made it feel like a PS2 game in 2023. Or, you know, whenever they started, probably like 3 years ago. But so like there's the frustrations there. Like some of the balance tweaking of some of the, like, by and large pretty easy enemies, but then like randomly there felt like there was a spike of an enemy who was pretty easy, and he like projectile shoots, which you know, looks like semen, but it is tartar sauce, but it is impossible to get that out of your head. Um
Wow.
and he's pretty easy to be, you know, fair, it's a kids game. And then like out of nowhere, when I'm trying to get collectibles in this third level, becomes like fucking spikes in difficulty. He's like one-shotting me from across the map. Like, you're like, your
Wow.
range was not that good 2 levels. Like, what happened? Why are we difficulty
How did
spiking
you
this?
do this?
Just so there's like a weird stuff where you're like, I know I'm not crazy. I know this felt, you know, and it's just like little tweaks. So it's like, but that stuff would happen a lot with kind of like mascot platformers, and it's like a lot of that stuff could be really unbalanced, and then not Mario, not high quality, not Jack and Daxter level ones. Um, you know, some of the collectibles ultimately kind of feel meaningless. But that's okay. That's, again, kind of standard. Um, you know, it's weird. It's like, it's not bad. It's not like I feel like I wasted my money or my time. Like, one of the other licenses I want to get every game of is SpongeBob. So it's like, whatever, I was going to buy that game no matter what. But it
It's
definitely,
inoffensive. It's an
yeah,
inoffensively
it
like
just,
bad
I wouldn't be
tie.
like, this game is good, but I also would never be like, this game's bad, because I do feel like it's a lot of what it's intended to be. I think for my personal disappointment is and this makes sense, but it feels like fans of SpongeBob wrote and made a SpongeBob game, and it doesn't feel like the writing is SpongeBob quality, which, to be fair, for a lot of most games, not very good either. It's not show level, but it would have been nice or cool if a lot of the writing had been show level, instead of feeling like a bunch of fans throwing SpongeBob memes on the page, which is what it feels like at times.
I see. I see.
Like this a little bit of an embarrassing moment, but like, no joke, at 10 years, I was like 10 or 11, I don't know. I wrote and scripted out like a whole SpongeBob movie as a sequel to the original SpongeBob movie. I
Wow.
shit you not, the dialogue I came up with when I was like 11 years old feels like the dialogue used here. And I don't say that in a good way. And I also don't say that as a way of just like trying to say SpongeBob's always been that bad. When you go and you watch good SpongeBob, like, that writing is killer, and this is just not. You know what I mean? Like, so I think there's a little bit of disappointment there, but it makes sense because I'm pretty sure they just got the license. You know, the writers of the games themselves had to go and write. And when you're making 3D platformers, maybe you don't have someone on staff that their job is like
You're
to
not
be a high quality writer.
yeah, you're not expecting like A grade writing from a SpongeBob SquarePants video game. You're just not. You know, going into it, okay, this is going to be like a lesser tier of video game writing. Just like lower all
Which
expectations for what this should be.
maybe that's a testament to I was not that bad at 11. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like, but ultimately, that's kind of the feeling. Is there's moments where I was like, I legit could have wrote this fucking the script and the dialogue for this game when I was 11. Is where we're at here. But again, the platforming, like, I will say, it feels a little better than like Battle for Bikini Bottom Rehydrated. That one
Okay,
felt a little
that's good.
floatier to me, whereas on this one, I do feel like
It's
whenever I
refined.
miss a jump, it's usually because there's something wrong with, like, it's that thing where you're like the distance, and you're just like kind of
Oh, you
uh
didn't measure it right? Oh,
yeah,
because
you're
of the
just like, I
camera
forget what
angle.
that's called, but yeah, my depth of perception is a little off. But like, as far as there's like floating objects and stuff, and there's some tight jumps that I've like made and not felt scared about, I'm gonna mess up because of the game's mechanics. Like, they feel a little tighter, so that part's been tweaked a little bit. And you know, it's a perfectly inoffensive, fine game. I may review it, or I may just play it, roll credits, and then move on. But I don't know. But yeah, I doubt that'll change much, but I'll give an update once I beat it next week.
Cool. All right. Well, I'm happy you've been having fun with Vampire Survivors. You've been losing your life to it. And I'm happy you're, having a fine time in Bikini Bottom. Oh, question though, what is the Cosmic Shake? Like, what is that? Is that a thing in the game or?
No, it's like, my guess is because the little like genie bottle they get or whatever, like basically that or it's like bubble, whatever, and it's like actually cosmic jelly that like kind of breaks the fabric of reality.
Oh.
Part of me just thinks that because it's like supposed to be like weird and random that they were attempting humor and it's like the Harlem Shake, but the Cosmic Shake, I don't know.
Okay, I thought there might have been like an in-game answer, like the Cosmic Shake is like this super drink that they're going after, or something super important.
No, yeah,
Okay, well maybe you'll have an answer by the time you finish the game.
Maybe
it's not clear right
to
now.
that next week.
Okay, got it. Well, yeah, we're gonna end the episode there. I did have a question that I was gonna ask. It's like a little, I guess you could say, a thought experiment of sorts. But just for the sake of time, because we're recording this later than we normally would, and the episode's kind of going a bit long. So if we did this, it'd go another 20 minutes, probably, knowing us. So we'll save that for another day. We'll end things here.
We've got a bit locked and loaded.
Locked and loaded for another day. Maybe next week, maybe sometime in the future. But
short episode though. It's pretty short overall, right?
Yeah, it'll be. I think it's going to come into like maybe 10-15 minutes shorter than normal. Probably it should. But yeah, it's fine. It's all good. That said, thank you all so much for watching and or listening to this episode of the Play to Win podcast. Remember to check out our site, playtowingames.wordpress.com. It's a home for all Play to Win content. So check it out. Head on over there. Also, head over to Play to Win at Play to Win Game on Twitter and Instagram. That's where you'll get updates on the show. I was really late this week about posting on the Instagram, like, hey, episode 92 is live. Like, I'm not lying. I did it hours ago, simply because I try to do it when I'm at work, but I end up getting caught up in what I'm doing at work, so I forget to do it. I'm like, I'll do it when I get home, and I forget to do it when I got home. So I kept on forgetting all week long.
It happens.
Sorry about that. Yeah, it happens. I was like, as long as I got it out before the next episode. Trying to be better, though. Trying to be better. Also, hit us up on YouTube, subscribe over there, hit the notification bell, leave a like, leave a comment down below. Let us know your thoughts, on E3. What do you think is going to be happening within the future? Are you hopeful? Are you optimistic? And also let us know if you are one of the many Titanfall fans that is very saddened by more disappointing Titanfall news. Tyler here is pouring one out alongside you all. He's sad along with you guys.
Wait, well, let's not misconstrue the context. You can't be sad if you didn't expect it. So I'm not sad. I am pouring one out for Knockout City, though. R.I.P.
No, R.I.P. to Knockout City. If I could pour out a drink, I would do that, and maybe I'll like have myself a nice drink on like June 6th, whenever on that last day.
Yeah,
just like cheers to Knockout City.
I'll go buy my first 40-ounce in forever and pour some out for the homie Knockout City.
Just do it on the sidewalk. Pour it out for the homie. Do it next to you just gotta print out a picture of the game's box art and put it on the ground and just pour one out for the homie Knockout City. Yes. So do all that, and also 5-star review on podcast services, greatly appreciated. Tyler, where can people find you?
Good Game We Lost, TikTok, YouTube, and Instagram.
You can find me over on Twitter at Tyler Miller2496. That's about it. Thank you all so very much for watching and or listening, and we'll talk with you all next time. Have a great one.
Good one.